Hey everyone, it is January 18th, and I have already received a message from someone talking about their goat birth. And this is my absolute least favorite thing to ever hear that anyone has done, because I care very deeply about your goats, but I care even more about you. And this is something that you should never, ever, ever do for any reason whatsoever. And that is mouth to mouth on a kid that is born non-responsive. This is all over Facebook. People talk about doing it, and they are taking such an incredibly huge risk with their own personal health. Last year, Dr. Stewart from Virginia Tech and I did a podcast on the infectious causes of abortion and miscarriages in goats. Many of those diseases are zoonotic, which means you can get them. And so I'm going to put a link to the podcast in the notes so that you can listen to that whole podcast episode. But I'm just going to read you here the list of diseases. And the thing is, one of the things I mentioned in the show notes for that episode is when Dr. Stewart agreed to do an episode on infectious causes of miscarriages, I pulled out, my vet textbooks here, and I've got more of them right there. Pulled them out, and I was like, all right, I'm going to make a list of all the infectious causes, and we're going to talk about all of them. And I was really blown away. Like, I knew there were a lot, but like, there's no way that we could possibly cover all of the infectious causes of abortions and miscarriages in goats. So I asked Dr. Stewart what were the most common that she saw. And so that's what we talk about. And I'm going to read the list to you of what we discuss in that podcast episode. So these are things. So if you have a goat that gives birth to kids that are non-responsive, this could be why. They could have chlamydia, Q fever, campylobacter, toxoplasmosis, Cache Valley virus, blue tongue, brucellosis, mycoplasma, E. coli, strep, and also the goat version of hairy shaker lamb disease. So that's a lot. I'm sure you recognize a lot of those as human diseases that people can catch. And it's bad enough that you're handling an aborted fetus or a kid that was even born a couple weeks early. You're handling them with bare hands. You need to make sure you really wash up your hands if you were not wearing gloves. But doing mouth to mouth, like, you are putting all the germs like right into your system. So, what I said to this person is, if you start to feel sick at all within the next week or two, if you have any symptoms of illness or you have a fever or anything, don't wait to go to the doctor. You really need to go right away. And it just, another thing on social media that is just ridiculous is, I don't know where people got this idea that you can't get sick from your animals because you're used to their germs. Nobody ever gets used to germs like toxoplasmosis and campylobacter and Q fever and things like that. So you are putting yourself at a huge risk if you do. And the thing is, the kid is dead. Like, you are not going to breathe life into a kid that is born dead. The other thing too, that I don't understand why people don't think about this, but if there's any mucus at all in that kid's nose, if you do mouth to mouth, you're going to blow that mucus right into their windpipe and their lungs. So even if they do seem to be revived briefly, within a couple days, they're going to have aspiration pneumonia and probably die from that. So it's really important that you just don't even consider that possibility. If you think you feel a really faint heartbeat, you can hold the kid on each side of its body and rub real briskly. Hold it in your lap upside down so that gravity can help any mucus drain out of the nose. If you have a bulb syringe, you can use that to suction the nose, which might stimulate breathing. You can also use, and Dr. Stewart talks about this in this podcast episode, you can also like use your fingernail to press against this acupuncture point, like right at the very bottom of the nose above the mouth. You can press on that. And a baby goat's so small, like you really can't miss it with your finger. Like press on that as hard as you possibly can. And don't worry about hurting it, because if it's dead, you obviously can't hurt it. And if that does revive it, cool. There's actually a lot of research on that. So those are the things you can do. And actually some research has shown that works as well as a shot of epinephrine. So those are some things that you can do. If a kid is born non-responsive and you're not completely sure if it is dead. But please do not under any circumstances do mouth to mouth, because your life is not worth it. I understand you want to save all the baby goats you can. I do too. But it's not worth the life of a goat owner to try something that's probably not going to do any good. So, please, I hope you take this to heart. I get so sad every time somebody tells me that they do this. And I know you see so many people on social media talking about doing it and acting like a hero. And it's just really sad because of the risk they're taking, and that they are letting other people think that this is okay. And it really is not, because it is so very dangerous. So please, no mouth to mouth on baby goats that appear to be non-responsive when they're born. Take care, and I hope you have a great kidding season. I'm going to be doing several more live streams in the next few days, specifically related to kidding season. And I'll also put a link in the info below where you can get more access to more information on kidding season. Bye for now.